Okay, so you have set up the quiz, the category, and you've added questions to the category, perhaps more than one category, and that's fantastic. Let's look now at adding a quiz. With editing on, add an activity or resource, activities, and there is the quiz. Okay, so give your quiz a name. Of course, if you're going to do stealth, it's not as important, but certainly it's good for students to know. The description should include instructions for the students, telling them what to expect, what could happen. And my advice is that as you go through the settings below, you go, okay, I'm going to add that to the instructions. Again, as usual, I like to have my text box there. So timing, open the quiz and close the quiz. The time limit, should you enable that, can be inside the open and close time. However, if the students enter 5 minutes before the close time, they still have that same time limit. Now, when time expires, open quizzes are submitted automatically as they just go. There's a grace period, which is about 2 minutes, when open attempts can be submitted, but no more questions can be answered, so they can finish the question they're on, but can't do any more. Or attempts must be submitted before time expires, or they are not counted. They are gone. Okay, so grade category, we haven't set up any categories in the gradebook, and we're not covering that in this course. Grade to pass, that may affect the activity checklist in lesson 9. You may decide to have unlimited attempts, or you may limit them to 1, or whichever number you choose, up to 10. And you may decide if they're going to be able to do it again. The grading method could be the highest grade, the last grade, the first attempt, your choice. Now, for me, the layout is always never all questions on one page, because when you add the questions to the quiz shell, and you've got a new page. It's very easy. Show more. Navigation method is free. If you do sequential, that means that students can do 1 and then 2 and then 3, but can't go back. Free means they can navigate around, and there's a navigation pane on this for you on that side. I usually put the shuffle within questions. It just confuses things to know. Feedback. Remembering that your specific feedback is what you write inside the question. Your general feedback is when you create the question, it's the one at the top, and your overall feedback is down the bottom here, and we'll show you that in a second. So your feedback can come during the attempt, click shows you. Immediately after the attempt, click everything turns up. Later, while the quiz is still open, that means that with this close thing, if you enable the close, it will be during that time, but about 2 minutes after they finish, they're able to access it. And after the quiz is closed is obviously if you enable closing the quiz. However, the feedback could be deferred, as in not during. Immediate feedback is given immediately. And these two things, they seem to contradict, but they do end up making sense. Please read the information I put in the written instructions. That will make it clearer. An adaptive mode allows you to, when the students do it more than once, that means they can not have to answer the questions they got right the first time or the second time, the times before. Appearance, no image. You may want to have the image appearing on the top right-hand side. I know that's for invigilation or when students are sitting high-stakes exams. Decimal places in grades, it's up to you. Same for overall grades, and show blocks during quiz. If you have blocks set up in your course, not something covered in this course, these are the things down the right-hand side. You may want to show those during the quiz for whatever reason you have them there. Perhaps you've got a calculator or something. Safe Exam Browser, this is a neat tool. However, you will need your ICT team to help you set that up. If students are doing these quizzes from home, they will need to download that software to their computer. It basically means that they can only be on this one page, and that's it. They can't open up other tabs and things like that. It's not foolproof, but it can help. Extra restrictions on attempts, you can have a password, so that means that when the students come into the class, you give them the password, or at a certain time you email the password. The other restrictions are possibly that you can require a network address. You can talk to your ICT team and say, listen, I want the students to do an exam at this time. What's the address, please? And that means that students in the classroom only, or whatever you decide, can only sit the exam from that location. They can't be on their phones, they can't be doing other things. Enforced delays means that they do it once, the second time they have to wait 5 minutes or 3 hours or 2 weeks, whatever you prefer. Browser security includes a JavaScript. Please talk to your ICT team to find out whether that's going to work for you or not. And this is the overall feedback we talked about before. You can set this so that you have 100 to 80. You can add more feedback files, 80 to 60, 60 to 40. And then you give them feedback. You did very well, you didn't do so well, things like that. And then back to the common module settings. Of course, if you have a large group, I always set it to separate groups, even with a small group actually. Just in case, it just separates things out and makes it a little bit easier, especially when you want to download the results. Restrict access. Restricting access we've talked about previously, and activity completion. This is lesson 9. I suggest for this one it's when conditions are met, and you can make those decisions after you've done lesson 9. Tags and competencies, save and display. Okay, now I'm aware that this is a long video, but I just want to very quickly show you how to add questions to the quiz so you don't have to go back to watch another video of me. Okay, so here we have the quiz with a brilliant name, and we add question. First of all, you can change this to any number you like, whatever your weighting is, or mark them out of 10, whichever you prefer. And then to add questions, we click here. From the question bank, I'll just show you with the recap questions. Okay, so here is your recap with 30 questions. I want to show all 30. Click all of them, and then add them to the quiz. Now they're not in the correct order. It's just a simple case of pushing it up and down. Oops. Okay, to get them in the right order, and you create your page break like that. Inside the page break, you can add a new section heading, completely up to you. There you go. So that will appear on the navigation pane on the right. Should you decide to add random questions, let's just have a quick look at that. Add random questions from the recap, so therefore we can add 10 questions. Let's just add random questions. The only issue with this is you can't edit from this page. So right now I can edit these questions with the random questions, which will be at the bottom. I can't edit the questions from there, but what I can do is I can see the questions and I can edit back in the editing place. I hope that helps.